Hi everybody, Michelle McLuhan, an astrologer and life navigator, and I'm bringing you a reading and an update for the next full moon, which is happening on the 12th of February, which is just 2 days before Valentine's Day. So I'm kind of seeing this as a week where the focus is on love, and this full moon really kind of accentuates that with where it is and what it's touching and what it's doing. So full moons are always a time of culmination. It's a time when things are lit up and illuminated and released. That's the energy of a full moon. And then it starts its waning cycle, and in 2 weeks' time there'll be a new moon, which is planting new seeds again. So this full moon is in the sign of Leo, which is the sign of love, which is quite interesting that it's aligned with this Valentine's Day. So what we have when we have a full moon is we have the sun opposite the moon, and the sun is basically shining its light on the moon. And if you look at what the moon represents, the moon is your emotional realm, it's our feelings, it's our domesticity, it's our home lives, it's our family. So when the sun shines on the moon and the moon is in the sign of Leo, it basically illuminates whatever Leo stands for collectively and in our personal charts. So this would be happening in the area of your chart where you have 24 degrees of Leo. So if you've had your chart done before, you'll be able to actually see where that is and where it plays out and what's being illuminated. And it'll play out on the axis of the two houses that are implicated. So this full moon not only is in the sign of Leo, but it's also in a connection to the planet Uranus. Uranus is in a square to the sun and the moon, which means that it actually influences the energy of the sun and the moon. Now, Uranus is a disruptive, unpredictable, unconventional, unexpected energy. So it brings that element into this full moon. So when you look at what it all represents, Pluto has recently moved into the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. The sun, as well as Mercury, the planet of the mind, at this full moon are in the sign of Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus. So there's a very Uranian, Aquarian feel this full moon, but the emphasis is on the moon, which is in Leo. So what I see this as really connecting with the full moon, which is Leo, which is the heart. Leo in astrology rules the heart. It rules things like love, it rules joy, creativity, the ability to connect to your own sovereignty. And I believe that these disruptions that we're feeling can feel that we're kind of getting knocked out of that stability, of that sense of actually being home and connected to the deepest part of ourselves, to the essence. And I feel that this full moon, as well as this whole week, if we look at it commercially as Love Week, or Valentine's Day. For me, Valentine's Day is a celebration of love, and love is the essence of who we are. So when we go out of our essence, we struggle. And this full moon can be agitating. So it can feel like there's conflict, that there's a little bit of madness around. I think there's a huge amount of unpredictability in the world, possibly in your personal life, but very definitely in the collective. I think everybody can attest to the fact that everything is moving really fast this year, and that it's the middle of February already. And how are we? How are we doing with this? Are we taking time out to connect with that really important part of us, to connect with our hearts and not our heads? Because this is quite a heady full moon. It means that there's a lot of information coming. We have other stuff also backing that up. Jupiter's in the sign of Gemini. A lot of truths are coming out. A lot of things that have been hidden are being exposed. Extortions and all sorts of things that haven't been known up until now are actually coming out into the collective. So we're actually seeing more than we used to see, but it can also be a bit overwhelming. How do we navigate this? We navigate it through coming back to the heart and staying out of war, because there's a warring kind of activated, conflicting energy here. And it's up to each of us to hold the vibration and the frequency of love, which is non-judgment. It's coming back into the middle place, that place of the place where you're completely connected to all that is, and you're not pulled in different directions. So I think that that's a huge, huge sign, this full moon. And I pulled a card out of our Divine Feminine pack, and it's definitely backing that up. My partner John and I are running a 13-week journey, which has just started, so there's enough time for you to get going. We're in our introductory week. It's called Journey to Freedom. It's online. And the other title that we could have given to this journey is Return to Love, or Journey to Love, because that is what it is. So the journey it takes place over 13 weeks, and it brings you back to this place that I'm actually referring to, which is going to help us to actually navigate the changes that are ahead of us, because everything is changing. So we have two major planets coming together this year. They come very close together, and then they separate, and then next year, in 2026, they come together for good at the 0 point of Aries, which is the creator degree, the starting degree, the cardinal degree. So this year is very much a year where we're kind of in between worlds. We're neither in the old, we're neither in the new, but we're letting go of the old so that we can embrace the new. And so these kinds of full moons are activating whatever is no longer serving, whatever we need to actually let go of, so that we can actually step into this new frequency. This new frequency, we don't even know what it's going to hold. But what we can work with is our own frequency. So bringing our own frequency into this, I'm going to call it the vibration of love. And with this full moon being in this connection to Uranus, it's almost like a revolution of love, because Uranus is the revolutionary planet. So how can we actually be part of the revolution to love? What does that mean? It means that in every single interaction with ourselves and everybody else, we actually bring ourselves back into that place of love. And while I'm talking about love, that doesn't exclude you. So this starts with self-love. So I would say that this week, see if you can try doing this. You close your eyes, you connect with your breath, because your breath brings you into the present and into your own vibration, into your own frequency, and it's always there to actually use as an anchor. And you just say the words to yourself: I love you. I'm listening. And you say that over and over again until you actually feel it. And by doing that, you're accessing a higher part of yourself, the part of yourself that is non-dual. If you wanted to, you could call it your higher self. You could call it your opening connection to the divine, but you're opening to the non-dual part of you, the loving part of you, the part of you that doesn't see the separation, that doesn't see the flaws, that doesn't judge yourself or others. And if we can bring ourselves back into that frequency by repeating that over and over to ourselves, that then changes the vibration. It ripples out into the field. And that's what brings about change. Because we often think that what brings about change is revolution and marching in the streets. There's a place for that, but this is more powerful. The energy of the heart is the strongest electromagnetic field that we have. And this is huge work being done by heart math. It's been done for years, where the heart actually just emanates far more energy and far more power than the head can. So the more we can spend time there, the better. If you play music, if you dance, if you create in any way, that brings you back into the heart. Those quiet moments of pause in a busy day, stepping away from conflict and into that quiet space, will actually help us navigate these quite erratic kind of energies. They're a bit electric. I would say also spending time really grounding yourself, because Uranus is a very electromagnetic kind of an energy, and it's a sort of a zzz kind of energy. So bring yourself in and ground yourself. Ground yourself on the ground, lie on the earth, spend time in nature if you can. It's very, very important to get outside and to get away from the digital media, very important as well. So just using these sort of little tools, pausing, breathing, grounding, bringing yourself back into your heart, those will actually amplify the positive side of this energy. Also, very definitely creative ideas can come up. leading up to, during, and after this full moon. It's a very good time for brainstorming new ideas, new ways of doing things, new ways of maybe approaching healing. We have a supportive energy to Chiron, the wounded healer. So stuff could be coming up for you for healing. It could be physical, it could be emotional, it could be on any different levels, mental. There could be old thought patterns that you're letting go of, old familiar habits that aren't serving your body that you need to actually release and try new things. This is the energy of the new. So it's the breaker of the old. It's the energy that helps us to escape, helps us to get out of the so-called comfort zones. And the comfort zones are normally not so comfortable, but we're in them, and so they become familiar. But this is the energy of change. So it's sort of encouraging us to step out of those comfort zones and try something new, try something unusual, look at it from a completely different perspective, from a different, just from a different viewpoint. Whatever issue that you have in your life, see if you can change your position on it and look at it in a different way. That's the energy of this Uranus and the Sun and Mercury in Aquarius, which are asking us to do that. And then obviously the moon in Leo is saying, and do it through the heart, not the head. So that's a little bit of astrology. I hope that helps. We're definitely going through major cycle endings and cycle beginnings, and we're in the process. So we're on the boat. We can't have left the boat or missed the boat. We're on it, and it's unfolding the way it should be, even though it might feel uncomfortable, it might feel painful, it might feel that you just want to run away. Run away into your own little space for a few moments if that needs to happen, and just be quiet. This is not about getting the approval of others. This full moon in Leo is about stepping into your own approval, stepping into your own sense of self, your own sovereignty, your sovereign sense of self. And so we've often been taught and conditioned to believe that we will be loved if we behave in a certain way. This is the energy of, no, I'm love. I am love anyway, irrespective of what's going on around me or other people's opinions. So bringing yourself into that place of self-love is the way I'm seeing this. And then obviously that ripples out into the field. The card that I pulled was Parvati, which is from the Divine Feminine Pack by Megan Watterson. And this one popped out, as they do. I am a love that doesn't leave. When I commit to love, my soul evolves. Isn't that beautiful? And she, Parvati, embodies the divine strength of devotion. She's the mountain that love becomes when we devote ourselves to another and to our own soul. So she was a Hindu goddess of fertility, of love, devotion, divine strength, and power. She's the nurturing, gentle aspect of Shakti, or feminine energy. So it's very beautiful, this card, and very fitting for this full moon. When the soul selects this card, what is soft, gentle, and nurturing like water can be far more powerful than what is inflexible and fierce. The energy of this mountain goddess is about the strength we can give and receive when we devote ourselves to the healthy bonds of love. Parvati is about the divine feminine potency of being a calm, benevolent presence, especially when something seems to threaten a deeply meaningful relationship or situation. Transformation with this goddess calls for a softening. So just listen to that word softening. And as I say softening, breathe out and soften your body. And just notice where you're holding tension. Transformation with this goddess calls for a softening. When a situation is hard, even painful, Parvati is suggesting that you allow your fist to unfold. So allow that to happen now. Open and release what is clenched in fear or stress. Remember that your love is a mountain that cannot be moved. And this bond between you is holy. No human hands or words can ever break it. It's the essence of who you are. The answer of what's next or highest for you can be found through the subtle act of simply abiding, not reacting, not running, not hiding. A deep reservoir of power can surge up from within us when we choose to remain present. Letting devotion inhabit us in moments when our ego has typically fled infuses us with the capacity to transform all of our relationships. Devotion is not attachment. It's letting go of the illusion that you and this love, this friend, this child, this family member, this soul within you can ever really be separate from you. Devotion brings us home to the point and purpose of every single relationship, which is love. A love that can never leave and that, like a mountain, can never move. A love that evolves the soul. And I mean, this is the energy of evolution. This is our stepping into the evolution of human consciousness. And that's got to be done through love, because that's the only way that we're going to evolve, not in a state of fear or war. So just notice where you tend to go into that resistant, warring-like state and bring yourself back into love. So the soul voice meditation, what am I most devoted to in this moment? So that will set your intention. If you're devoted to healing, if you're devoted to peace, if you're devoted to love, then that is going to inform every single moment of your journey. Every word that you utter, every interaction that you have, that intention. And then again, the intention is I am a love that doesn't leave. When I commit to love, my soul evolves. Isn't that perfect for this week, for this full moon in Leo, for Valentine's Day coming up? Let's make it a week of love and change the field with love. I reckon that's a very good intention for the week ahead. If you enjoyed this and if you found it useful, please would you subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and hit the notification button and share it if you think it might help others, and comment. Let me know how you are feeling this energy. I am available for readings. I do have a little bit of a delay though, so please just email me. You can find me through my website below in the description, and we can set it up for a little bit in the future. Not the distant future, but it'll be a few weeks from now. Thank you so much for listening, and take care of yourselves, and remember to come back to love.